Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dave from Chase Summit. Today I've got a bit of a different video for you. Today I want to talk about 4 apps that every runner needs if you have an Apple Watch. This applies to basically all of the Apple Watches, anything from a Series 3, SE, Series 5, and Series 6. Boy, there's a lot of it. During my initial review of the Apple Watch SE, which I'll link up here, I had some issues with the apps that came on it out of the box for sports and fitness tracking. Out of the box, there's not a great solution for recording a run or doing a GPS activity. And in the comments section of that video, you guys spoke loud and clear about the apps that you enjoy and use on a daily basis. So I went through those comments, I downloaded all of the apps, and I tried them out for myself. These are apps mainly used for running, not really triathlete stuff like biking or swimming, just for running. So I want to talk about 4 apps in particular that you have to download if you're a runner. Some of these are free and some of them cost a few bucks. Before we get into it, make sure you give me a thumbs up down below if you found this video helpful, and consider subscribing so you don't miss more videos from me in the future. I also want to mention that I'm not affiliated with any of these apps or the developers who make them. I merely downloaded them, tried them for myself, but if you do find this information helpful and you're in the market for a smartwatch like an Apple Watch, I will have links down in the description where you can pick one up, and those links do help support my channel, and I really appreciate it. Okay, 2 of these apps are actually for the watch itself, and then 2 of these apps are for your iPhone. Okay, so the first app I want to talk about is called RunGap. This is the first app you should download if you just bought an Apple Watch for your iPhone. Basically, this allows you to sync activities from your Apple Watch over to a bunch of other platforms like Strava or Training Peaks. Even Garmin Connect is supported in RunGap, so you can sync Apple Watch activities over to your Garmin Connect account if you have other Garmin devices you want to use alongside with your Apple Watch. As you can see here, I have 6 activities from recent runs, and all of them are from different sources. Some of these activities were recorded with the Apple Watch standard activity tracking app for running and biking and things like that. Comes with it out of the box, and RunGap is able to find those activities and sync them over to other platforms. The nice thing about this is it works with basically any running app. It could be like Nike Run Club or Runtastic or any of those apps. RunGap will grab those activities and sync them across the board. And when I click on a particular activity, it gives you some of the basic specs like distance and duration and your heart rate and things like that. When I click on the accounts tab, you can see all the supported platforms. You've got things like Strava, Garmin Connect, Apple Health, Nike Plus, Runkeeper, Adidas, Runtastic, Endomondo, Suunto, Polar Flow. There's just a ton of supported platforms here. You've even got things like Dropbox where it will sync your GPX file from your activity over to a Dropbox account. So yeah, RunGap is the first app you should definitely download if you bought an Apple Watch because it opens up a lot of doors for syncing to other platforms. Really important stuff, and I don't know why Apple Watch just doesn't have this stuff out of the box, but at least the developers over at RunGap realized there was an issue here and they made an app for it. The next app I want to talk about is again another app for your iPhone, and it's called HealthFit. One word. So HealthFit is kind of like RunGap. It almost does the same thing, but it has a few more features on top of it. First off, we've got the same features that RunGap has here. So I've got all of my different platforms that are supported by HealthFit. And again, you've got things like Strava, you've got Training Peaks here, and even Dropbox like RunGap had as well. So you've got that flexibility of syncing your activities over to other platforms, but HealthFit has another trick up its sleeve. On top of syncing activities, it actually aggregates data for some advanced training metrics you can use for running or biking. As you can see here, I've got my active energy for today. I've got my resting energy. It's been a pretty lazy day so far. I've got my steps for the day. I've got my resting heart rate. I've got my heart rate variability here. And then I've got my past 7 days of calories burned. Below that, we have resting energy per day. You've got your estimated VO2 max, which is pretty cool. However, I don't find this to be very accurate or in line with any of my other devices. Although I'm still pretty new to this app, so I probably need to use it a bit longer to get better data. Below that, we've got our daily step count, which mine seems to be pretty low, but it's probably because I don't wear the Apple Watch every single day. We've got my average resting heart rate for the past 7 days. We've got my heart rate variability for the past 7 days. And then below that, it breaks it down even further and shows you all of the same information for the past 30 days, which is really nice to see in graph form. And at the very bottom here, you've got your sleep data, which is really nice because I don't really love how Apple displays sleep data. It's telling me here that I get about 4 hours of sleep per night. That sounds about right. You've also got the statistics tab here, which breaks down your workouts from the past week, month, and year. It also gives you things like your total distance year to date. Clicking over to workouts, you've got a little map of your workout. This one's from yesterday. I've got my 10-mile run from yesterday here. And what's nice about the HealthFit app is it actually breaks down your run. It gives you a full heart rate graph here, and then you can swipe over on the graph and get other information. And then you've got detailed metrics from the activity. And the interesting thing about the HealthFit app is it does give you some form of training load, which can be pretty useful. useful. Scrolling a bit further down, you've got a heart rate zone graph, which is laid out really nicely. It's easy to read. And at the bottom here, it's pretty interesting. There's a GPS accuracy chart. So this actually tells you how long it took to acquire GPS lock and potentially how much missing distance you have because you lost your GPS connection. That's really cool, and that's something you don't even see on like a Garmin or a Suunto. HealthFit is a paid app, but it's only a few bucks. So if you only need the syncing portion of this, I would go download the RunGap app that I mentioned before. But if you want all of this other stuff, you can pay a few dollars and get all this added flexibility and functionality. It's nice that there's options. The cool thing about all the apps I mentioned in this video is that the developers listen closely to the people using it. Like, they actually go through the comments and fix stuff pretty quickly, even the free one. Okay, now that we've covered the apps for your phone, we're gonna talk about the apps that you wanna download on your Apple Watch so you can get out and start running. The first app I wanna talk about is called iSmoothRun. I don't love that name, but that's the name of it. Here we have iSmoothRun, and the interface is very simple to get it set up and running. You can see that I can swipe from page to page. When I swipe to the right here, I've got a graph for my week of running. Unfortunately, this week I haven't run yet because it's Monday, but I will be running tonight. When I drop into my settings here, you can see that I have an option for Bluetooth sensors, which is already an upgrade from the built-in Apple app. So you can add a Bluetooth heart rate sensor for your runs, which is really important if you want to get accurate heart rate data. So once you've downloaded the iSmoothRun app on your Apple Watch, you also want to download the app for your iPhone. And iSmoothRun is super customizable. So you see here, I've got a little graphic of my Apple Watch, and if I swipe left and right, I can go through the different data pages available, and clicking on any particular field, I can go through a huge amount of different data fields to dial it in exactly like I want it to be. You've even got things like power, which is great to see. That means if you've got a power meter on your bike, that's also supported in iSmoothRun. Clicking over to the log page, you can see all of your previous activities. You've got all of the stats from that activity here. You've got your duration, your distance, how you're feeling at that moment when you finish the run. You've got your max and min heart rate, total calories burned, steps, all of the data is here, and it's displayed really nice. And to view a map of your activity, you just click this little beacon icon at the bottom here, and then I've got a whole map of my run, including heat zones to tell me when I was running faster or slower. You've also got a couple of other options at the bottom here. You can actually hit the play button in the bottom here, and that actually allows you to continue the workout. So if you were hiking or something and you want to stop the activity when you got to your campsite and then pick it up in the morning, you could hit the play button and continue hiking using the iSmoothRun app. Another cool feature about this app is you can actually race yourself. So if you're on a known course and you run it all the time, all you got to do is click the little guy in the corner here, and it asks if you want to start a run against yourself. Pretty cool stuff. I wish other apps did that because it's a lot of fun. And again, if you download iSmoothRun, you don't really need RunGap because this also has the ability to sync with multiple platforms. And if you forgot your watch for whatever reason, you can still go for a run with iSmoothRun and sync it over to those other platforms using the GPS built into your phone. Of course, it won't be super accurate, but at least you get something to get by in a pinch. Going back to the app on the watch, there's a couple of other features I want to talk about. First off is customization, okay? You can click different activities here like treadmill running, trail running, walking, biking, all this stuff. And then below that, you've got a little button that says watch plus iPhone. You can click that and be watch only if you don't want to have your iPhone with you. The nice thing about this is it means you can run with just your watch by using the GPS chip built in, or you can run with your watch plus your phone. It'll use the phone's GPS chip as well as your watch GPS chip to save a little bit of battery life on your watch. There's just a whole bunch of features here and a lot of flexibility with the iSmoothRun app, and I highly recommend it. It feels like a really polished experience, solid app overall. Okay, the last app I want to talk about today is called WorkOutdoors. Now, in the comments of my Apple Watch video I posted about a month ago, overwhelmingly, this seems like the popular app that most people are using for running and trail running, so I had to download it. Fair warning, the WorkOutdoors app is $5, but it's totally worth that amount of money. Let's look at the watch component before we look at the phone component. This is the WorkOutdoors main page, and you can see here there are a ton of activities to choose from, and if there's something missing here that you want to do, all you got to do is click other activities. You can actually click indoor or outdoor for different things. There's even things like dancing, elliptical, high intensity, rowing, stair climber, walking indoor, yoga, things like that. And if you click the three dots next to an activity, you can open a workout that you've set up on your phone. I'll show you that in a little bit. You can do a set time, calorie, or step goal activity. You can do an interval activity, and you can also view your workout history in that activity. This is actually really nice because a lot of apps don't allow you to look at the history that you've had in that particular workout activity. Here you can see my activity from yesterday, the elevation gain, my pace, all of the information, and there's even a little map at the bottom here. That's really nice to see. And then below that is the elevation graph. Now, when I start an activity, that's when the magic happens. You can see 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so you can see here right off the bat, this is my main page for running. And what's awesome about this is I've got my distance, my duration, and my beats per minute of my heart rate. And above that is a full out graphical map, like a Google map. This is super helpful for me. I really like having a map on my wrist, and it's a big reason why I buy Garmin watches, because they have onboard mapping. But now the Apple Watch does for just $5. Now, if you swipe over on the screen, you can get access to other information. Here I've got my beats per minute, my heart rate zone, and this is all of my heart rate information, including a little heart rate graph, which is really nice. And at the bottom here, it's telling me poor GPS signal, big surprise. And if I swipe over yet again, I've got another map view, and I've got more information about my position, my speed, my distance, and time. And on this final page, I've got my steps, my cadence, distance, and time again. And when we go over to the WorkOutdoors phone app, you can see that all of the pages in my running activity are shown here, and I can fully customize them individually. I can change where I want the map to be. I can change what information's on that page, what the layout is of that page. So yeah, super customizable, and the added ability to have a map on board is amazing. Another thing about the maps is you can actually download the maps to your watch into your phone. This allows you to use the maps when you're off the grid and don't have a cell signal to download them. You do have to have the foresight to actually download the maps ahead of time for the area that you're going to be in, or else they won't show up on your wrist, but it's not that big of a deal, and having this functionality at all is totally worth it. Now, if we go to the workouts page in the phone app here, you can see all of my previous workouts. Here's my run from yesterday, and here it displays all the information like we just saw on the watch itself, but on the larger screen of your phone with a bit more detail. And finally, WorkOutdoors also has the added ability to import a GPX file into the app and sync with the watch. This allows you to follow a pre-made course that you made in Gaia GPS or in Garmin Connect. All you gotta do is download the GPX file, bring it into the app, and it will sync over to the watch. This is super cool. This means you can follow a course on the watch using that graphical map just like you could on like a Garmin Fenix 6 or a Forerunner 945 or something like that, but it's an Apple Watch SE and it costs way less than those, and it's got a really nice display. Again, WorkOutdoors is a paid app. It's about $5 on the App Store, and it's totally worth it, and it brings the Apple Watch a ton of functionality that's typically only found in really high-end outdoor-oriented devices. The only thing that's missing from WorkOutdoors is some way to pair an external sensor for heart rate or for power or anything like that. There doesn't seem to be any Bluetooth sensor support yet, but again, this developer is really active and he listens to the complaints and he fixes things really quick, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that in the future. I could see this app being a viable option for hikers or really outdoorsy people who are backpacking or trail running or something. Okay, that about wraps it up. Those are the 4 apps that you need to download if you have an Apple Watch, what I think at least, and what you guys seem to think judging by the comments I saw in my Apple Watch video. Again, if you haven't seen that video, I will link it up here. Definitely go check that out. That's my full review. And again, if you're on the fence about picking up an Apple Watch, I think it's a solid device. Definitely has some quirks. It's not fully an outdoor or fitness watch, but you can make it that with some of the apps I mentioned in this video. And if you decide to pick one up, please use the links down in this video's description. Those are affiliate links. They do help support my channel, but they cost nothing extra to you. If you found this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up down below. I really appreciate it, and consider subscribing so you don't miss more videos from me in the future. And if you have a favorite app that you use on the Apple Watch, please let me know down in the comments below because I'd love to add it to my list. I think that's all I've got today. I'll see you in the next one.